Hi guys, I hope you're having an awesome week. I've had an awesome week. It's been the usual, all sorts of things happening, but then it's a good thing when all sorts of things are happening. It means that money is being made. You haven't gotten yourself into trouble. So we thank God for everything. You're listening to the Good Citizen Radio Show. The show is brought to you by CSR in Action and funded by ACT Foundation, a.k.a. ACT Foundation, which is a grant-making organization established in 2016 to support local, national, and regional non-profits. And of course, you know why they sponsor us? They sponsor us because the Good Citizen Radio Show is for the average Nigerian. Our goal is to reorientate the average Nigerian. We want us to be active leaders. It's not for us to leave it to a slapping senator to show us leadership. It's for us to take it in our stride and be the best that we can be. You know what they say about change starting with us? Yes, the change does start with us, and we need to start owning it. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is in your DNA. It's in the way that you function. So today, it makes sense that we're discussing the place of human rights in Nigeria's democracy. There have been a lot of challenges in the country. And even though we say on the show that we do not focus on negativity, if we do want to move forward as a nation, we have to address the challenges that we have. Otherwise, we'd be like ostriches burying our heads in the sand. Now, what is democracy? It's popularly defined as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And it's been generally acclaimed to be one of the best systems of governments around the world. The fact that officers can be held accountable to the people and can also be removed through elections make democracy a better option amongst many other forms. Human rights, on the other hand, as defined by the United Nations, are rights inherent to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. These include right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education, and many, many more. In Nigeria, sad to say, democratic practice and the consequent protection of human rights is still a journey. It's still a journey. We'll have to agree it's still a journey. And although the amended 1999 Constitution contains provisions on human rights, we still have faced in the past, and unfortunately again, in recent times, several flagrant violations of human rights perpetrated by both state and non-state actors. The government, has several times violated court orders. There have been arbitrary arrests and detention by the police force. There have been assault on young men and women. In Abuja of recent, it was young women being arrested just for being young women. I remember when I was young, if you told me to wear anything like halfway down my thighs, I would literally chew you out, don't you know I'm young? This is my life. I remember the story of a young lady whose mother had to meet her up because she'd gone out with her friends and she was waiting for an Uber to take her back, and these guys just pull over and grab her and say they're taking her to sell. And we've also heard how, unfortunately many of these young women have been raped by people who are purportedly protecting us from immorality. We've also had numerous reports of military shenanigans at IDP camps in the Northeast, and the recent episode of Dear Uncle, who I hear is back in Senate, slapping people, thankfully caught on camera. And all of these things obviously cast doubt. Yeah, somebody here is rolling his eyes. Of course he's a man, so he rolls his eyes like, oh, big deal, so what? He was, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I mean, I remember, again, I think about a story that was shared recently on the Good Citizen WhatsApp group of a popular author who purportedly has been having sexual relations with his daughter. There's the other young, not so young man, although he did marry as a teenager in the US, who had about 9 children with his wife alone, probably 6 girls, and he was literally sleeping his way through all of them. That is human rights abuse to the girls, and they've grown up to be women who are severely, I don't want to say damaged, but they're facing intense issues. And it's the same when you're a normal citizen walking along the road and somebody just grabs you up for no apparent reason. We've had forced evictions. We've had more gender-based violence in Nigeria. We have bad governance, corruption, all of these things, and this is something that we clearly need to discuss. And then another one that actually comes to mind and that I find really painful is the story about the men. For this week, really, that's really been the most painful thing for me to hear. The police guys who apparently were shot by military men along the Taraba Expressway because they had a popular kidnapping kingpin, some Alhaji Hamisu Adume. And I saw the release by the police, and I saw the pictures of the policemen who were killed, because apparently these army guys, were working for the kidnapper, but the army has denied this and said that they thought that these policemen were actually kidnappers themselves. People have refuted these claims with videos and stuff. But I just want us to take a moment to remember these gallant officers who died for their country. Sergeant Usman Danzumi, Inspector Mark Diali, and Sergeant Dahiru Musa. May their souls rest in peace. Amen. So we'll go right into the thick of the show. We have a special guest. I'm sure many of you know him. His name is Segun Awoseye, a.k.a. Segalink. He's calling into the show. He's a Nigerian realtor, media marketing consultant, creative and technical director, and he's a broadcast engineer. But most of all, as a Nigerian who cares, he's a human rights activist. He's popularly known for founding and championing the End SARS campaign against police brutality on social media. And in coalition with civil society groups like Gavel, he pushed for the reform of the Nigerian police force and scrapping of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, a.k.a. SARS. As a result, he was drafted as a member of the presidential panel to overhaul the department, which is now known as FSARS, which is Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad. And we think that with people like him on there, this would obviously be a better approach to tackling challenges in this country. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Segalink. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me on your show.
How is it going?
Well, thank God we're still trying as much as possible to keep our heads above water and ensure that we continue to add a little quarter to what is going on in the country to ensure it's a safer environment and climb for our kids.
Amen. We hope that works. I mean, for us, I know that it will happen in my lifetime. So I don't talk to anybody who tells me otherwise. So thank you once again for joining the show. So what do you think? What do you think so far? Do you think you've made any progress since you started this activism?
Yes, actually, we've made it with fundamental progress, and we're still making progress on the daily.
Can you speak up a little bit more, please?
Okay, I said we've made progress.
Mm-hmm.
We have continued to make progress. And in the past 3 years now, we know that things that have never happened in this climb before that is now happening now. For example, we've been recovering millions of naira on a daily or weekly basis.
Really?
From police, money extorted from people, fundamental human rights abuses all over the place.
How are you doing that? How are you getting the money?
Yeah, once people call in to say that they have been extorted by the police or they have been accosted by the police for doing nothing, for being alive.
Okay.
In some cases, before they get to us, they must have extorted them. And if they have extorted them, we have to go back to the station and we call the DPO of the station, call also the first PRO or the police PRO for the state, hold them to account until that person, the justice is served, that person is refunded, and the people who robbed the person, because I call it robbery.
Right.
There's nothing else.
So let's roll back a little bit. So is there a number to call, and who is who's making this happen?
Social Intervention Advocacy Foundation. SIA is the organization that brought you NSTARS and several other advocacies
that
has been proactively involved in giving people succor.
So citizens call you to say, I've had this challenge, and you make it happen, right?
You said?
So citizens call you to say, okay, this is the challenge that I've had. Right.
So we have our call centers are still being worked on as we speak. But on Twitter, if you call for help and tag any of the handles, whether Citizens Gavel or Segalink, will be swiftly connected, and they will send you the closest number to call, and it will be there.
Right. Awesome.
We were able to rescue a few people from the highway where a policeman was threatening to kill everybody because he found a bag of rice in a bus, and he was demanding his share in monetary terms.
What?
And they were like, they don't have any money, and he said he was going to kill all of them. And I said, okay, give him the phone, let me speak to him. He wasn't going to speak to anybody unless he killed somebody.
Wow.
You understand? So we got to, he calmed down a little bit, and I called in the PRO for the state, Edo State, that's along Okada way or so. And then he was able to release the people. And then so disciplinary action will be taken from there. So we have a lot of angry, crazy, unfit people carrying guns in the police system, in the police structure, who sees their duty for being in the police system as oppressing.
Right.
They don't see themselves as protectors or people who protect life and property or anything. They see themselves as people who are entitled to oppress you, collect money for that. So any resistance whatsoever will make them feel that their ego has been bruised. Right. They've been violated.
Right. So on the flip side, is there any? So I see that your focus is more on police cases. So is there any work around resensitizing these police officers, because they're critical to progress of our society as well as the military? So is there any training on softer skills? I know, for instance, that many police stations have been equipped with resources, and the staff have been trained on rape or sexual assault, for instance. But, obviously there's still a lot of work to be done, because the average rape victim will tell you that it still wasn't a comfortable experience when they went in to report. Do you do that sort of thing as well, or is it
Yes, we have sister organizations like
that focus on that? Yes,
that focuses on that. So we just direct you. Whether it's mental health issue, we direct. Whether it's rape cases, we direct you. So we have several where it's like we're like an octopus. We have different where we just direct people to, and to ensure that there is a place to call. Because if you look at it's frustrating. Being in an environment where people who are meant to protect you are the killers. They are the armed robbers. So when a policeman robs you, you don't know what to do. Do you go back to the police station and be re-robbed? Or do you call somebody? And if you have to call somebody, who exactly are you calling? So that's exactly what we are doing in that gap. So that nobody gets away with murder. So that nobody gets away with crime. Especially people wearing uniform. We're not limited to this. What the organization is about is standing in the gaps, in the institutional gaps that have been created based on government failure. And police did not get ruined overnight. It was a neglect of years. So we're trying to mitigate that while we're looking at how we can engage the problem, the cause of the problem. We're also dealing with the problem in real time. Because the future of Nigeria, our youth, they are the most vulnerable in this conundrum. They want to attack. Just this evening, somebody was arrested right in front of his house. They said they charged him for wandering. I don't know what that
wandering out of his house to the gate, or which other type of wandering?
In front of his house.
Wow.
In front of his house.
Wow.
And he was asked to bring 50,000. After the mother has gone and beg for money and brought 50,000 to the police officers, they said they are still going to charge him to court. That he must be an armed robber. That where did the mother get 50,000 from?
Which part of the nation did this happen?
This happened in Epakodo. And
Where's
of course,
that?
the first police, Bakodo is in Ikorodu.
Ah, I see.
So it's happening all over the place, not just in Lagos. It's in Abuja, it's everywhere in Nigeria. Every minute, people are being arrested for nothing.
Right. So tell me, what is the role of this presidential panel then in addressing, some of these misdeeds of the past SARS?
Okay, well, when this thing started, we traced the problem to the abuse of protocol, and we decided to say, okay, let us put in another protocol, the standard operating procedure for the engagement of the special tactical squads that we have, all the tactical squads that we have. We have special anti-robbery squads, special anti-kidnapping, special anti-cultism. We have there are so many of them. People just create new ones. The same way they build 5-star hospitals everywhere without maintaining them. So most of these people are created, and then the purpose for which they are created, sometimes they just forget about it, and then they continue to look for means of survival. Become a tool in the hands of anybody who can hire them. You can, of course, of late, you have heard how they use them to go and abduct people from different states, on alleged crimes that are unfounded and all those things. So they do all those things.
So because we don't have a lot of time, I want to hear what you're doing then to address this.
What we are doing, or what we did initially, was to ensure that we put the protocol in place to define their role in society.
Okay.
SARS and the rest of these people, they are not meant to be on the street wearing their
mufti
and harassing people.
Right.
They're meant to respond only
to when they are called. I see. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you were breaking for a second.
Okay, sorry. So those are the protocols we put in place initially.
So let's...
When the IG came.
Just make that point, please.
Okay, when the new IG came, he reversed the entire thing and returned the tactical squad to the commissioners of police, who had erstwhile lost control of this tactical unit. So that's why we now have all the things that we have been able to win with the advocacy in terms of keeping them at bay, reducing the rate of impunity and the rest. We're now back to square one.
Wow.
So that is exactly what is happening now. So what we're doing now is mopping up the problem as they occur, while we are still appealing to the government to pay attention to the bills that we have sponsored in their house of at the legislature, which is the Police Reforms Act,
right?
Police Reforms Act, and the Police Trust Fund Bill.
So we have all of these things happening, right? But we still have very high-profile arrests. The first one that comes to mind is Timmy and his wife, and then recently was Shuare, who was arrested, because he had planned a revolution. Many people that I know think that it was unnecessary to say, there's the need for a revolution. But many people also agree, to announce that there's going to be a revolution. And I watched a video where he said, we will make things, how did he say? Something like we will bring this nation to a stop or something like that, okay? Is on which basis the government is saying, it's stressing and treason. And then somebody else actually shared a link with some U.S. citizens who tried to overthrow the Gambian government, and as a result were arrested when they came back to the U.S. And as such, he said, it's a treasonable act. But then many people have kicked back and said, this is a violation of his human rights. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think our laws are clear. Criminal Code Act, Terrorism Act, if you look at every single law that is out there, none of them criminalize the use of the word revolution.
Right.
Many of the ruling party members or leaders of the ruling party today have used the word revolution times without number.
Absolutely. So a case of some animals are more equal than others.
Exactly. So they've said that they are going to create a parallel government. They've said that they are going to do all sorts. Even the president himself has called for revolution. You understand? He has also said that during an election, he has said that the people who disagree with his followers should be killed. There's nothing that shows that is reasonable as those statements. But not just the semantics or the adjectives used while you are expressing yourself. You understand? So nobody can criminalize you based on, or criminalize your action based on your words. Even if in a case of assault, the law is clear. In a case of assault, for example, the law will look at your capacity to carry it out. If there's no capacity there, they can't hold you for assault. So you cannot say somebody is a...
Just because somebody mouthed it means that, something, but, right.
It's not done. There's no civilization on earth, no nation that is progressive, that will deploy resources to such a thing. It is a fundamental human right abuse. For you to begin to charge people, you deem somebody guilty of something without fair trial. Right to dignity is not there. You came, you're a police, you're an authority or security operative. You came at 1 a.m. to somebody's house. What if he has a security of his own, and there was an exchange of
gunfire? Yes.
Choose another set of officers.
Of problems.
Because these people are they're definitely not in uniform.
Right.
So this is what we're looking at. Operating procedures of this, our security forces, it's appalling. They are not different from kidnappers and armed robbers.
Oh, wow. So, I just want to pause here and remind us that there are actually some pretty decent police force people. Same for the military. I'm sure that they are. It's just obviously bad news sells fast, isn't it? Yes, it's generally poor, but I'm sure that there are a few good instances, surely. Or do people not report good ones to you? It's just the problems.
The issue is this.
Okay.
When you mention the ills of a society, we're not generalizing that everything is bad. Because I think it's a Nigerian thing to assume that because people are complaining about something, that means everything is bad. It's not everything that is bad. But if we have 9 over 10 bad, then everything is more or less bad.
So is that your number? Okay, let me not dwell on that negative number, but let's go back to the average citizen.
There are good officers out there.
Oh, absolutely.
We're recovering funds and we're doing stuff with people who are patriotic within the system. Every system has a good head. But remember that impunity is enforced, is peer and induced and peer enforced. In other words, if there are 5 people in a police station, and the 6th person is the good person, and the 5 are bad.
Yes, obviously, obviously, I hear you loud and clear. Yes. Oh, yeah. So, and you see, and I'll come back to that. But, a final question for you, please. What role do you think citizens can play in fostering human rights? Before we let you go.
They must be able to acquaint themselves with the law. Section 39 and 40 of our Constitution, of 1999 Constitution as amended, recognize our fundamental right to assemble with others and express our approval of or discontent towards any government policy. Government as a person. So it is not, nobody should think that it is a crime to express yourself, your discontent, or to go out and say, look, we are not agreeing with this. I have been on the street for the past 3 years or more, for the past 10 years anyway. Hold government to account, regardless of what acronym they have or the colors that is for.
Right.
You understand? Because of other people.
Right. Thank you.
Nobody has been able to knock my door or anything. It's just the way in which we go about it. If you're going to come out with clean hands, number 1. 2.
Yes. Yes.
Things you say, don't let them use your words against you. Familiarize yourself with the law. Exercise your right to the fullest.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You're such a passionate Nigerian. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the time you've devoted to the cause, for changing the approach to how officers deal with the average human being, to human rights in general. God bless you. Thank you for calling me on the show. So we had to let Segalink go, and we're very near to the end of the show, but if you really had something to say, you can call 0700 923 923 923. Again, it's 0700 923 923 923. As Segalink was making his final points, I just remembered the video of this Indian lady who was invited to a TEDx event, and she shared her story. She's a policewoman, and she shared her story as to how difficult it is to work within the government. And she said, it's not easy, but you have to be willing to let it go. Hello?
Evening.
Hi, good evening. What's your name, please? Thanks for calling the Good Citizen Radio Show.
My name is Victor.
Hello, Victor. What's up? What do you have to say about this? Human rights.
Yes. I'm so happy with the enlightenment that the last speaker made on the activity. if you can do me a favor, is it possible to get their phone number?
Yes, so we want Segalink's number. So he did say that Segalink can be followed on Twitter, and the foundation as well, the Gavel Foundation. So you can actually do that. I was actually going to ask for that number. So what we will do is we'll get that number and we'll share with you as well on social media. Yeah, follow us at Good Citizen NG and you get that at Good Citizen NG. Okay? At Good Citizen, yes, Good Citizen, as in good, GOOD, Citizen NG on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay, at Good Citizen NG.
Yes, please.
Very much.
Thank you so much for calling, Victor. And for calling to ask that question, you've won yourself a nice Domino's pizza. It's highly, highly yummy. So congratulations. I was talking about this Indian policewoman who has said, you know what, don't hang on to a position. It's when you think the position that you're in is the be-all and end-all that it becomes very difficult for you to move from it. That's when you become afraid and you allow peer pressure to get to you. So some of the things that Segalink shared that I thought we would talk about again or remind ourselves is that we have to acquaint ourselves with the law. You need to know your right for you to be able to fight for your right. It's not going to be easy. They might throw you in jail for a day or two, but nothing good comes easy. I think about all the Rosa Parks and the Martin Luther Kings of this world. Before Rosa Parks, hello, we have a final call. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for calling the Good Citizen Radio Show. What's your name?
Good evening. My name is Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. You have 30 seconds. Go.
Sorry. I'm calling you from First Stack.
Thank you.
See, I'm driving. I just heard about police. I think I have to call. And thank God for sharing your site. Police, I don't understand those people. I reported a case to them, which somebody sold something to me on credit. On warranty.
Right.
The thing up to 4 months. The thing started giving me issue. I reported the thing to police, to area command.
So this is it. I understand. Hello?
Command. Do you know? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. So
over some time, do you know the police, they just changed the matter, started begging that I should leave the matter, that these big men, they don't answer.
Okay, so the thing is, so we have just 1 minute left. I hear you. Please follow at Good Citizen NG. Give us the full gist. We'll give you the details for Segalink and his foundation, and I believe that together you can work it out. Thank you to everyone who called the show. Thank you to Segalink again for joining this conversation. Thank you for the work that you do. The show is brought to you by CSR in Action, and it's funded by ACT Foundation and supported by Domino's Pizza. Remember that you can get yourself a BBQ burst pizza at any of the Domino's Pizza store locations near you for 3,000 Naira only. And guess what? Anytime you order online, you get 2 free Cokes. Follow at Good Citizen NG. Our WhatsApp number is 0906 263 4111. Again, it's 0906 263 4111. My name is Bekeme. You've been listening to the Good Citizen Radio Show. Have yourselves a good weekend and a blessed new week. Bye-bye.